Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
GT4 Tuesdays, and after a trip to the Orient at Suzuka back on March 17th, we then headed to Spa-Francorchamps in the Ardennes Forest of Belgium just 1 week ago. But here on week 3, we go back stateside, and what a place to kickstart another week here on the Racer Nexus Broadcast Network. Hello everybody, Alex Goldschmidt in the Racer Nexus Global Broadcast Centre, joining me on both colour commentary and our producer behind the scenes. Welcome back in, Mac Nelson. Mac, we've had 2 great weeks to kickstart season 27 of GT4 Tuesdays here on Racer Nexus, and we are at the iconic Watkins Glen, and more importantly, it's the boot here tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very, very exciting, Alex, to see what these drivers can do when it comes to coming back stateside. It's a little bit of, home track advantage for me here tonight. I love seeing us race over here in these states, but who can forget Lewis Hamilton driving Tony Stewart's car around Watkins Glen? I can't remember what year that was, but what an incredible highlight. Oh. What an incredible moment.
Yes, indeed. I still remember when they told him to pit and he didn't want to do it. He was sideways in Tony Stewart's NASCAR. You know what? I'm going to look up the year on that one, because that was when Lewis was still a McLaren driver, and that was back in, I think it was, let's just have a look. Funnily enough, I'm going to be looking at NBC Sports, and it was when he did, I think it was, 2011, funnily enough, at the Glen. Now, this circuit has been open since 1956. It was the home of former home of the US Grand Prix. It measures just under 3.5 miles. We've got 11 turns, 4 to the left, 8 to the right, and it runs clockwise. We are going to be going around this circuit for 45 minutes as it is. It's fixed cars, it's open setup, and everyone is still on that learning phase after the opening 2 rounds at Suzuka and Spa-Francorchamps. So, 47% fuel limitation, so there will be a mandatory stop for everybody. 45 minutes, lights to flag, and here is the, how can we say, this is the updated calendar, because April 7th we go to Okayama, to the former home of the Pacific Grand Prix next week. Daytona, the World Centre of Racing, hosts round 5, and Donington Park National will host the midway point of the season on April 21st. We then take a trip to Germany, to the Eifel region, to the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit on April 28th. St. Pete joins the calendar for the very first time since its introduction to iRacing on May the 5th for round 8. Circuit Zandvoort will be a tough test, with barriers very close on round 9 on May 12th. Sebring hosts round 10. The Autodromo José Carlos Pache at Interlagos in Sao Paulo, Brazil, hosts the penultimate round of the series on May the 26th. And then Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta caps things off on week 12 on June the 2nd. More to the point, we have to update you about the scores on the doors. And there they are. Jesse Mia leads the way ahead of Michael Brock, with Roman Bykov rounding out the top 3. Lathrop, Mayer, Zinn, Lemke, Aitchison, Alessandrini and Cooper round at the top 10 in the Going Pros. Peterson leads the way in AMS ahead of Tita, Sunday, Cox, Wood, Foster, Mealy, Aguiledo, Giroux and Monsalve as we are getting ready to grid up after qualifying has just been completed. And there we see Thomas Lathrop, who's put it on pole position, and he is going to be joined by the 421 Ford Mustang of Michael Brock alongside. Brian Zinn and Brian Lemke will be on row 2, Porsche versus BMW. The man from St Kitts and Nevis in the 243 Porsche, Kevin, will be joined by Joseph Mayer in the 000 BMW on row 3. Jesse Meir and Sean Teets ran at the top 4 rows, with Roman Bykov and Kyle Mavis completing the top 10. John Monsalve and John Aguilera ran at the top 12. And then we go over the page to row 7. Zach Peterson and John Cooper will complete row 7 itself. Keenan Gehrig and Russell Abraham will round out row 8. And then we'll have Mike Bond and Justin Aitchinson, Spencer Baudouin and Oz Eskelou rounding out your top 20. 26 cars due to start on the grid tonight. Aaron Sunday, Philip Poole, Paul Bailey, Dylan Foster, Donald Mensing and Gonçalo Amorim from Portugal rounds out the field in the number 2 Porsche Cayman 718 GT4 RS Clubsport. So it is going to be a rolling start here at this particular circuit, and then we go back to the Orient again to the Okayama, for those that don't know, hosted the Pacific Grand Prix for Formula One back in 1995 and 1996, formerly known as TI Circuit AIDA, and we'll get into all the history and all that kind of stuff next week. But more to the point, this circuit has hosted so much racing, including GT World Challenge America, the Grand Prix at the Glen for IndyCar, Formula One US Grand Prix from 1961 to 1980, the Trans Am Series, which has been racing there for a multitude of years and still from 2021 up to the present day. The Bully Hill Vineyards 176 at the Glen for the NASCAR Craftsman's Truck Series. The Mission 200 at the Glen for the Auto Parts Series for NASCAR. NASCAR Cup Series Go Bowling at the Glen. They've been there for quite a few years. The WeatherTech 240 at the Glen. Last ran here for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship back in 2021, and then evolved into the 6 hours of Watkins Glen for one of the top tier sports car championships known globally. Good evening to Jen Brock. I hope you and Jason, as in their son, are keeping very, very well indeed, but it is going to be a true test around this circuit. Thomas Lathrop has scored a point by getting pole position. Sean Teeter is effectively in the lead of the mid-pack Larrys. Obviously, Zach Peterson leads the way in that one, but what a sight that is, Mac, because we've got 23 drivers that will take the start. Monsalvo Mensing missed the opportunity to grid up. Gonçalo Amorim, who's on the same time zone as me, it's like 2:05 in the morning in Portugal, has not made it to the grid. But it is going to be that all-important run to the 90 at turn 1 when we go green for 45 minutes.
Yeah, and on those cold tires, man, it's going to be very, very difficult to actually get that car stopped how you think it's going to stop. So I think objective number 1 for these guys is they've got to get around turn number 1. They got to do it safely. Not only that, but we've got a long race ahead of us. It's 45 minutes, so, you know, calma, like they say. You know, you just got to calm down.
Yeah, like the Spanish would say, calmate, you know, just cool your jets, as I think the term is normally used over stateside. Just to calm down and get the first couple of laps, maybe the first 10 minutes under your belt, and then you'll be in that kind of flow state where you hope that nothing is going to go awry. But it is going to be the case of who is going to be top of the hill here at the Glen in both the Going Pros and the mid-pack Larrys, and when it was Michael Brock and Zach Peterson that took the victories respectively last time out just 1 week ago amidst the Ardennes Forest at Spa-Francorchamps, where we did have some dramas across the way. However, this is a reset. It's stateside, it's 45 minutes, and now the drivers will have to start from around 60 miles an hour in terms of the rolling lap. But Thomas Lathrop did a great job to put it on pole position. Not by much, though, because that Mustang is going to be very, very strong around this particular circuit. But because it's more of a handling circuit, you would say that the Porsche 718 Caymans will have the advantage very shortly as they come out of the heel, out of the boot, and then into the final couple of corners. The Porsche pace car has got its lights off We are set and ready to go for 45 minutes here for round 3 out of 12 for Apex, this GT4 Tuesday, season number 27, right here on Race and X's. And a big thank you to Apex Sim Racing Shop and TrackCams22.com. Track cams for connoisseurs, for giving us all the action you need right here, live and uninterrupted. Pace car in pit lane, and here we go. It's going to be the build up here for the green flag, and here we go. It's 45 minutes. We are green here at the Glen, and Michael Brock already gets the nose ahead on the run down to the 90 here at turn 1 on Thomas Lathrop, who dives to the inside of the opening corner. Brian Lemke in the meantime has managed to get through, but Michael Brock has spotted at the opening corner and has gone backwards into the barriers. That just goes to show how quickly things can change on a dime, as now it's Lathrop versus Lemke. Brian's in, now up into P3. Kevin Jude trying to go around the outside of Joseph Mayer as they go up the hill through the S's and onto the backstretch for the first time. Then they've got to be very, very careful of approaching what we will have now, which will be the inner loop before we hit the outer loop, and then go down the hill through the chute and into the boot itself. And a very, very, very happy birthday to OHND Racing. So congratulations on celebrating another year on this planet. So down we go once more, but Michael Brock has tumbled all the way down to 22nd position, having put it on the outside of the front row. And this, I mean, the thing is, Mac, we know for a fact how quick Michael Brock can be. And it can take one moment like that, even if it's at turn 1, and it's more the case of how quickly can you claw that back, because he's got a machine that can definitely motor on.
Yeah, he's definitely got a machine. I'm going to agree with that, Alex. The Mustang, obviously, it's got the power. I mean, come on, it is a Mustang at the end of the day, but you touched on it a little bit ago. It's not going to be the most optimal track for a Mustang. Like you said, the Porsche going to be something a little more agile. It's going to handle a little better here. I think the advantage is still there, but it's not as big as it would be at a long track like, let's say, Spa or, you know, anything else. Monza, for example, very long tracks. The advantage isn't going to be as big there, but I think it's still going to be pretty noticeable, and we'll just have to see what he can do.
Well, he's only 10 seconds behind race leader Thomas Lathrop, who brings us over the line to complete lap number 1, and the gaps are very, very close indeed. Between Lathrop and Lemke, it's got up to 1.1 seconds as the number 84 from the USA is now making his way through the S's and onto the back straight. And look at that Porsche go. It's rocketing into the distance. The capability of that mid-engined rear-wheel drive sports car, as Sean Teeter is making some moves. He's up to P5. He's got through on Jesse Muir. He's got through on the Nürburgring King himself, aka Kevin Zhu, the man from St. Kitts and Nevis, who's got Roman Bykov in his wheel tracks coming through out of the inner loop. And Michael Brock will start making his way. He's got through on Spencer Baudouin's has just had an off track, the Canadian in the 010 Mercedes-Benz. So, and he's got a little bit of damage to the right rear bumper of the Mercedes. Oh, Brian Zinn has just had a big moment, and he is off track. Oh dear, it's all gone wrong from the man from Austin, Texas, the home of the home of many a WWE wrestler, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mark Calloway, aka the Dead Man, the Undertaker, and many, many people that have come from that neck of the woods that have made themselves household names in professional wrestling. Of course, but Brian Zinn has tumbled all the way down to 20th, and Michael Brock's has gone, oh, thanks, Brian. So the funny thing is, I would say OHND Racing, if I could put it in the chat for the live timing, we'll try and assist you with that. But it is the case that John Aguiledo, who has made up 3 places, biggest mover so far, Mike Bond, who's right behind him in the 123 Mustang, as they get so close to the wall, coming out of the final corner here at turn number 11. You can just see as here goes Mike Bond with a big rate of speed, tries to look to the inside, decides to, has he got sponsorship from Black Rifle Coffee, who also sponsor none other than the Gymkhana Madman himself, and also ARA Open champion from last year, Travis Pastrana. So Mike Bond now makes his way up into P9. That's P2 in the mid-pack Larrys as they go down the back stretch here on lap number 3. Lemke is trying to close that gap. which has got down to just under 0.6 of a second as John Aguilera goes bunny hopping over the curbs into the inner loop. But again, just how quickly things can change, and the biggest gap at the moment between certain drivers is Philip Poole, who is in 15th, started 22nd on the grid on the outside of row 11. He is 4 seconds behind the number 46. Oh, Philip Poole. Oh, he's brought a bit of Turner Motorsport. I love that livery of BMW. Turner Motorsport have been known for GTDs and GT4s over the years, and have had a big connection with BMW Motorsport North America. And there is Michael Brock trying to find his way through on Russell Abraham. Or is that Oz? No, that's Oz Escalou in the endgame BMW. So we're now seeing that it's going to be very, very close indeed, because Brock is now going to dive to the inside. And can he get the move completed? Well, at the minute, he's on the outside of the next corner, which will be a left-hander. Slots in behind Escalou, who last season definitely showcased his prowess early doors in the first half of the championship year, or the championship season thereof, in the Mercedes-Benz, but switched to BMW, the propeller of Munich. But Michael Brock has now made his way up into 17th. He's got Spencer Beaudoir, the man from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, just behind him, the 0-1-0. But that gap is starting to expand. And when Michael Brock was down in 22nd position, he was 10 seconds off. And as we have just under 39 minutes on the counter here, Mac, that gap has now expanded to about 14.9 seconds. But all he's got to do is just get his head down, dust himself off, pick himself back up, and just go, you know what? I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain in this race.
Yeah, Michael Brock, exactly like you said, he's got nothing to lose, so why not full send it? Why not throw everything you can at this race and just kind of see what happens? But he's concerned about catching up to Thomas Lathrop right now, but I think the biggest concern might need to be the 000 of Joseph Marr. This guy just ran a 1:53.83, going to be the fastest lap of the race. He is cooking right now.
Yeah, Joe Mayer has just, like you say, a low 53.8. As Kevin Shue gets past Jesse Meir, who's now going to try and return the favour at this point. And there is Lemke. He is closing in. He wants his first win. He was Mr. Consistency in season 26, which then led him to a titanic battle with Michael Brock all the way through the 12 weeks before we hit week 13 after season 1 2026 here on iRacing. But Lemke has stuck with the tried and tested wheel, the wheels that normally are underneath him. So he's kept in that dark black Sky Lounge Motorsport BMW M4, and Joe Mayer is starting to close that gap. Last time around, he was only half a tenth quicker than Lemke, but took a big amount of time, nearly 0.5 of a second, out of our race leader as we come across the line to complete lap number 4. So, Rachel, hope you're having a wonderful birthday. And, OHND is starting a go-karting crew. Oh. Indoor or outdoor, Rachel, is the question I've got to ask on that one. Normally it will probably be an indoor track, but at least the main thing is that if you guys and gals can start putting together a go-karting crew, that'll be something interesting to watch if you guys decide to live stream it from phones and stuff like that on Twitch. You never know. But still, again, the first 2 opening rounds of this 12-week calendar here, Mac, have just provided great action as Brian Lemke using more of the curb and I think a little bit of grass through the second half of the outer loop, of the inner loop. He really closed some time in on Thomas Lathrop there.
Yeah, I think he's doing a fantastic job. He's just staying with Lathrop right now. That's all he needs to do. He doesn't have to be shiny. He doesn't have to be flashy. He doesn't have to get around him right now. All he needs to do is stay in that toe distance within about 1 second in these GT4 cars, maybe 1.1, 1.2, but he's doing a fantastic job. It is dirty air, so he does have to fight that. However, if he can stay in tow, he can set up something on the last lap. He can even choose the same pit cycle if he wants as Thomas Lathrop. He can do the exact same thing he's doing. And at the end of the race, he's going to be right there. He might have himself a move if he can stay on the rear bumper like he is here.
Yeah, at the moment, Michael Brock currently up to P15 on his recovery drive as we are fast approaching the end of the first 10 minutes here at Watkins Glen for week 3 out of 12. Here on Apex this GT4 Tuesdays. Yeah, great to hear, Rachel. Indoor and electric, and they went. We went this last weekend with about 25 friends at K1 speed, which has the only first elevated 2-level track. Oh, that's awesome. That sounds really, really cool. If I ever get myself stateside, I'll come over and have a little go myself whilst I'm at it. But we are seeing some improvements on lap times. Aguilero's gone and put in a personal best. Roman Bykov, who's catching him in the 013 Coors Light Edition Aston Martin, as we've got the very, very bright and colourful John Aguilera car in front. So the two Aston Martins, two of Gaydon's finest. Of course, Gaydon is the global headquarters of Aston Martin, based over here in the UK. But again, they're being caught very, very quickly. You've got John Cooper in the 77 from Canada for Skylounge Motors. Look at the damper rebounds these GT4 cars are getting as they're going through into the inner loop, and both the Porsches of both Cooper and Peterson did definitely get some air underneath all four wheels.
Yeah, man, they're flying, man. But hey, that's what you need to do here around Watkins Glen. You might need a little bit of airtime to go fast. Hey, at the end of the day, that's what you are. You're a race car driver. You might not be an astronaut, but you are a race car driver, so you got to be familiar with getting that car up in the air.
Yeah, so a bit of a train starting here. Justin Aitchison is not that far behind Zach Peterson, and that is the battle for fourth in the mid-pack Larry's division. Of course, for those that are uninitiated to Apex this GT4 Tuesdays here on Racer Nexus, red numbers indicate the going pros, blue numbers indicate the mid-pack Larry's. So Justin Aitchison has made up 5 spots, started on the outside of row 9 when we went green, just 11.5 minutes to go. And it's a bit of what I'd like to call the conga line, and that is being contretanted a little bit here by the Nürburgring King himself, Kevin Xu, the man from St. Kitts and Nevis. And here comes Sean Teeter down the start-finish stretch to the outside of Jesse Mia. And then keep your eyes on Kyle Mavis and Mike Bond of the two Mustangs. Mavis nearly stuck his nose up the inside of Teeter going through into the 90 here at turn 1. Down the hill we go, in towards the S's. Now it's going to be uphill. Mavis still ahead of Bond. So the two Mustangs working in tandem together, but then they've got to be very, very careful because Aguilera has caught them up now.
Yeah, and Sean Teeter, he is racing for a whole lot right now. It's going to be a P5 overall, which as a mid-pack Larry is crazy to think about. But also, this is the pro points leader, Jesse Meir, right in front of him. So Sean Teeter, this is the guy right in front of him, and he's got a very fast BMW. He's got the opportunities. He's had them. We'll see if he can get some more. I'm sure he can. Little dive down on the inside from Kyle Mavis. But Sean Teeter, Jesse Meir's right there, Alex. Pro points leader. He can get him. That'd be a big milestone.
Would definitely be a scout that he would then say, "Yep, there we go. There's my prize for tonight." But Kyle Mavis in the Liquid Death number 64 has finally got through on the Monster Beast BMW M4, and you see Mike Bond. He's got to the outside of him. John Aguilera. There's a little bit of a contact with each other, but a little scrape there on the bodywork. No, as they say, Mac, Rubbings Racing. And the good thing is that this is a track that everyone will know, everyone loves running at, and it just provides such great close pack racing.
Yeah, and like you said, rubbing is racing, and I feel like there's just like an unwritten rule. Drivers come here and they realize that there is going to be a good amount of rubbing here on Watkins Glen. I don't know if it's the association with NASCAR, I don't know if it's the association with America in general, but the cars just tend to come into contact here a little more than the other tracks.
Yeah, I think it's just the close proximity, and you've got limited track surface to go around, as John Aguilera getting a little bit wide going out of the 90. Running on board with Mike Bond for a brief moment, then we head back to John Aguilera, and you can see in his rear view mirror screen on the centre of the dashboard that Roman Bykov has caught him up and is within 2.5 tenths of a second. So Bykov is within lunge range, so to speak, as they go through into the inner loop here on lap number 8. We've got just over 30 3/4 minutes left to go, and also because of the fact that there's a lot of elevation change. So one of the good things is you can do a little bit of lift and coast to try and gather that momentum. But if you're in the slipstream with somebody else, then that's going to help, because you can be at 80% throttle. The person in front's going to be doing all the hard work in front. Oh, that's awesome, Jen. Mike's mum and dad are headed out tomorrow on vacation, and they're heading to... I'm so jealous, because actually Germany is my second home, hence the surname. They're going to the Nürburgring. His dad is super excited. I bet he is. One of the greatest places to race in the world. And also with the Touristfahrten as well, whereby people can actually go out there on their road cars. Hire cars, they have their insurance instantly invalidated the minute the barrier goes up and you drive onto that circuit. So if you damage that car, if it ends up being a total loss, it's not just the total loss of the hire car. If they have to repair the Armco barriers, you're in for a big chunk of change coming out of your pocket.
Oof. It's a good thing I don't live in Germany, man, because I would be going there. I would probably be crashing. I mean, that's why I'm up here in the booth, Alex. I'm not too talented here on the simulator, so, I mean, I just figured I'd give my voice a little bit of a try instead of my feet and hands, and, yeah, it would be very, very bad if I took my car to Nürburgring, for sure.
Yeah, no, only Mike crashes cars, says Jen. Oh, bless him. I'm sure, Jen, you heard him swearing like a trooper the minute that he had that turnaround at turn 1. But he is making some headway. He's actually closed the gap by nearly half. It was about 6 seconds back to Russell Abraham in P14. And Mike has got that gap down to about 3.3 seconds as we concentrate on our race leader. Mike Bond has just been passed by John Aguilera for position. Mike Bond has made up 8 spots and at the minute is the hardest charger of the evening. We're going to have a look back at the race start. So this is what occurred as they went into turn 1. Michael Brock, now that was all on his own. He turned the car in, the back end swapped with the front, and then he locked up the brakes and the back end went, oh, little love tap with the barrier, so minimal damage to the back of the Mustang. And yeah, it's just the so Mike and Jen's son Jason is sleeping, so he needs to be quiet. Completely understand. I hope he's got the door shut on the sim room there, Jen. But yeah, it's going to be the case that we're going to find out maybe in the next 8 minutes or so, Mac, that we'll probably hit that initial pit stop window and see who's going to pull the trigger first.
Yeah, and we know Zach Peterson, he loves a good alternative strategy. He currently sits in P12 overall, going to be P4 in the AM class, though, and we saw it at Suzuka. The pit strategy was almost perfection for Zach Peterson. Last lap had a little bit of an issue, but hey, man, now that we're here, Watkins Glen, he can formulate another strategy, and maybe it can lead him to maybe a podium. I don't want to curse him, but it'd be nice to see.
Well, he did that last time, didn't he, at Spa? He got P3 overall because of a couple of drivers having a bit of a moment in front of him. And I can understand, Rachel, why you're so jealous of wanting to go to Germany. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that who knows? I'm hearing rumours that the Nürburgring will be back on the calendar in the not too distant future for Formula One. Of course, they're now on a 5-week break because obviously the Grand Prix in both Bahrain and Saudi Arabia have been cancelled, obviously, with what's going on in the Middle East at the moment, but we won't talk about that here. So Jen says it's fun to leave the door open so for Mike so that the cat jump scares him whilst driving. Oh my! If the cat jump scared him whilst he was driving into turn 1, I'm sure that he would have a proper fit. But nevertheless, he has closed that gap down to Russell to under 2 seconds. And looking at the lap times, Michael has just done his fastest lap of the race, a 1:54.4, and he took 0.4 out of Russell Abraham. So he's currently running P15. Now there's an opportunity here. Because he's had to deal with a lot of backmarker traffic, one of the benefits of that is, I did say about the slipstreaming, Mac, a little bit earlier on. So when he's been in the dirty air of those in front, he's not had to use the full capacity of fuel. So he might be able to go a lap or two longer than those in front, and that might help him maybe to do a bit of an overcut strategy.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Any opportunity you can take if you're on the side of Michael Brock, you want to get as many corners in as possible with nothing stopping you backmarker-wise, traffic-wise. And with his race being compromised in that first corner, first lap turmoil, I 100% agree. It would be very good from him to just kind of stick to the back of these guys, only pass them clean. If there's another car he can leapfrog to, save the fuel, overcut, make up that time. I agree 100%.
Yeah, so we're very close to hitting 20 minutes. These laps have gone by incredibly, incredibly quickly. Joe Mayer in third position still holds on to the fastest lap of the race, but the battle for the race lead continues. Joe Mayer in the number 000 BMW holds on to third position. He's 4.3 seconds behind fellow BMW driver from Sky Lounge Motorsport, Brian Lemke, the defending champion from season 26. And then Joe Mayer has got 3.4 seconds behind him, the man from St. Kitts and Nevis, the Nürburgring King, as he likes to call himself, thanks to his colourful livery. The 243 Porsche of Kevin Jew. Jesse Mir rounds out your top 5, as Paul Bailey has just ended up in pit road in the 569 Porsche. So I'm wondering whether he has had a drama at the moment, as Jesse Mir and Kyle Mavis now start reeling in the man from St. Kitts and Nevis in the 243. So, going to have a look at Paul Bailey now, whether he has decided that he's gone in for a pit stop at this point. John Monsalve and Donald Mensing, they were, well, Monsalve's come in. And there is Donald Mensing, I think a new addition to the grid here in the 001 Ford Mustang. So let's just have a look. So he would be in the mid-pack Larrys. So yes, he is a new entrant. So in the words of Street Fighter, here comes a new challenger. So John Cooper is the highest driver so far to pit from 13th on the road. So he's lost positions to both Russell Abraham and Michael Brock. So the man from Winnipeg, Manitoba comes in the Sky Lounge Motorsport 77 Porsche Cayman. And it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers continue on, as Brian Zinn in the 82, who's feeling a lot better. He was feeling a bit under the weather last week. He does some commentary for us here at Racer Nexus as well. Had to step in for him for ASRL last week alongside our good colleague Sagar Bakshi. But Brian motoring on. He was getting really, really consistent towards the end of last season. He was picking up seconds and thirds and was on, had the opportunity of getting an overall race win. And sorry, Rachel, I don't know if we're able. I can't post if I try and post in that chat with regards to live timing. I think it would be. I can't post links. I'm not a manager of the channel, unfortunately. So, Mac, I don't know if you have that access to maybe put that in the chat.
I believe I do have access.
So if you can put that and pin that in the chat for everybody. So if you want to keep an eye on the live timing, we'll try and see if we can sort that out for you folks. But Brian carrying on his merry way at the minute, P15 at the moment. So there's been a lot of action here, Rachel, so please excuse us for the delay on the live timing for you, so bear with us. Lathrop still leads, Lemke within 0.7 of a second, as Jesse Mir now pits, so does Kyle Mavis. So that is 5th and 6th position, and our mid-pack Larry's leader has just pitted, so Mike Bond takes the lead, away from Sean Teeter. And there we go, Lemke still trying to chase down Lathrop, 21 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Currently on lap number 13. So Mia, Mavis, Teeter, Aguilera, Atchison, Brock has now pitted, Gehrig has pitted, Paul, Bourgeois, Foster. They've all come in at the same time, so there is a hive of activity down pit road at the moment. So a multitude of drivers coming in for pit lane, and for those wondering why the indicators are flashing on the Mustangs, well, that is a standard built-in feature for race cars coming down pit road. It just basically means that if people don't hear the cars, well, I'll definitely see them with the lights flashing. That is for sure. Jesse Mir now rejoins ahead of Kyle Mavis. Or no, actually Mavis is ahead of him. But meantime, Lemke is trying to get on with the business at hand, and he is closing that gap. It's less than half a second between the top two. So Lemke trying to see if he can outdo Lathrop. He's kept with him all this while, as we are fast approaching 20 minutes on the timer out of 45 left here at the Glen for round 3 out of 12. Lathrop has done a sterling job so far, but he won't get a point for the fastest lap of the race. That will go to Joe Mayer in P3, who's still out. And at the moment, the top 10, rounded out by Oz Escalou, have yet to come down pit road to take their mandatory stop because of the 47% fuel tank limit. But still, nevertheless, Kevin Zhu is actually closing in on him. He took about... how do you do sideways there, Mr. Bykov? He went completely sideways, coming out of, I think that was turn 8. So, and now he's going to dive into pit lane. And here we go. Lathrop, Lemke, Mayer, Zhu, Bykov will be in. Is Mike Bond going to come in? Yes, he is. So we've got Peterson, Abraham, Zinn, and Escalou. They've all got to come in for fuel. Abraham pits. Is that going to be all of the top 10 that are going to be coming in at this point? Brian Zinn pits. Oz Escalou, does he stay out? No, he's coming in pit lane as well. And it's going to be a big window before John Monsalve, who spent 3 minutes and 43 in the pits early doors. Well, he's going to come in for the pit lane. Obviously, he didn't make it to the grid on time, and he wasn't the only one that did. So Lathrop has returned, but Brian Lemke has lost a little bit of time. He was actually 1.3 seconds slower on his fuel stop in comparison with Thomas Lathrop. So what Lemke's got to do, he's got to go full push for the next 19 minutes here, Mac.
Yeah, and Jesse Mir taking the longest of these drivers, actually. So the points leader getting a little bit of a slow stop from his team in the pit lane. Going to be about 4/10 slower than Joseph Marr's slow pit stop. So not exactly the best for Mir, but he's got himself 2 positions up. He started this race in P7. So the fact that he is P5 now before the pit stop, the rest of it's just time to lock in. Time to go as fast as you can.
Yeah, it's time to get those racing horse blinkers on and just concentrate on your own race. Chase down those in front and have those crosshairs ready to pull the trigger at a moment's notice. So John Monsalve has now... Oh, well, John Monsalve, 33.5 seconds in pit lane on his marks. That's probably about a 50-second pit stop from transfer in to transfer out, including staying on your marks in the pit lane. As oh right, Brian there is a little bit of a... I'm wondering what was... Okay, so Thomas Lathrop, what has happened to him?
I think Brian Lemke's had a little bit of a connection issue, I think.
So is Thomas Lathrop as well, because they both were showing us out. But sometimes that does happen. The internet's just a fickle thing, as we did have that on our first broadcast together here on Apex when we were at Suzuka, didn't we, Mac, if I remember correctly?
Oh no, you mentioned it, man. You mentioned it. The haunting is coming, man. I'm telling you, superstitious. I can feel it. I can feel the bad aura in the air.
Man, you got PTSD written all over that face of yours right about now, man. But the thing is, we laugh and we joke, but at the end of the day, I actually had a really, really interesting question from somebody. He says, what's disconnect for sim racing? How could you compare it to modern day motorsport? I said, well, you can't. You can't. It's basically the fact that if the internet connection is not stable enough, then that could cause a disconnect, which just means that, hey, it wasn't working as it should do, which is true. I said you can't compare it to a gearbox blowing or, you know, a transmission failing or a motor going on a car or even a blowout. You know, you could compare it to so many things and you would be nowhere near where you needed to be on the description. But nevertheless, here we go. Kevin Zhu has closed in on Joe Mayer, so the man from St. Kitts and Nevis now closing in on the 000 BMW. He's getting really, really close to the back end, and Kevin Zhu getting really, really aggressive on the brakes here, Max. So I think P3 overall could be under threat.
Yeah, I think you are exactly right. The 243 Porsche doing a very good job chasing down this BMW. Joseph Marr, he was very, very quick at the start of the race. I'm not sure if his pace has maybe fallen off, but we're not seeing that spark. We're not seeing that hunger, that oomph in his lap times anymore, or how he's kind of addressing the car. It's almost like he's blacking out, he's zoning out, he's getting complacent with where he's at, and Kevin Zhu is not going to let that slide.
Yeah, Kevin Zhu has shown flashes of brilliance, especially last season during sporadic appearances here on Apex this GT4 Tuesdays. As they come out of turn number 11, close to the wall goes both Mayer and Zhu. Down the start-finish stretch over the line. They now go on to their 16th lap of this race. Into the 90, Kevin Zhu decides, well, discretion is the better part of valor at this point, and stays behind as Mayer makes a bit of a misstep coming out of the 90. Into the S as we go, and this will be the perfect opportunity for Kevin Zhu to go up the hill through the S's and onto the back stretch, and will really be able to try and look at an opportunity. You can make it work if you time it right going into the inner loop. And look at the overspeed for the Porsche. He's going to dive to the inside, onto the entry point. Is it going to be wheel to wheel? It is for the briefest of moments, and Kevin Zhu gets through by a squeeze and then some through into the inner loop, and that is P3 for the Nürburgring King. But nevertheless, Joe Mayer kept him very honest, and he's kept on his back bumper.
Yeah, and it was a good overtake from Kevin Zhu. It got on the brakes later into the bus stop there. Very, very shaky on the exit, though, so Joseph Moore was able to kind of get back up on him, so the pressure is still on. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't been keeping track for the last 2 or 3 laps on how big the pace difference is. Last lap, it was advantage Zhu by almost half a second. We'll have to see how it breaks down here, but it might just be one of those things, Alex, where Joseph Moore, he's had a very good race, but it's just kind of time for his pace to fall off. Meanwhile, Kevin Zhu could have been saving, could be under different circumstances. This might be where he wants to turn it up.
Well, Kevin Zhu made up 0.7 of a second in the pit lane by his fueling window, 20.57 in the pit lane under refueling. Joe Mayer, 21.23, so just under half a second. Between, well, it's nearly 0.7 between the pair, so this has given Kevin Zhu the impetus, and thereby he would have probably been a couple of litres lighter than the BMW behind him as we ride on board with the 243 across the start-finish line. And starting lap number 17, 13.5 minutes to go here at the Glen before we head back to the Orient to Okayama, which is probably going to be the shortest circuit on the calendar, but it is one that has been around for donkey's years here on iRacing, and it is also normally the opening round, normally hosts the opening round of the Automac Super GT Championship, which is if anyone might remember the old silhouette days of the DTM between 2012 and 2019, before they went to they ended up becoming a GT3 spec series, where you got those wonderful silhouette cars. They've just that I think as Joe Mayer, that was coming through the outer loop, and he just got a bit crossed up there. The back end was a little bit sketchy, a little bit loose, so he's lost a bit of time, and that is going to really put him into the clutches of Jesse Neer, who is closing in on him in the 172, the points leader in the Going Pros. And there you see the track temperatures: 66 degrees Fahrenheit, 19 degrees centigrade air, 82 degrees and 82 degrees Fahrenheit and 28 degrees centigrade on the track. Humidity 54%. Aaron Sunday has made his way up to 19th position in the 331 Mercedes. And look at how he's bringing a livery every single time. He's even got Watkins Glen on the side of the car, on the door panels, and it's got the stars and stripes, the Star Spangled Banner adorning on that. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what the man from Los Angeles, California brings to Okayama next week for round 4, because we've had cherry blossoms round 1 at Suzuka. Spa, I can't quite remember the livery, but it's quite bright and quite noticeable as well. But Aaron still keeping on, and that's the main thing, because even if you have a difficult first couple of rounds, as Michael Brock now has made his way up to P11. He's just got through on John Cooper. He's 1.3 seconds away from P10, which is now being occupied by Sean Teeter. Zach Peterson is in second as Aitchison died to the inside through at the 90, and a bit of a wobble there for Michael Brock going through into the 90 and on the exit, but Justin Aitchison in the Gulf liveried Ford Mustang, the 175, who was in Aston Martin last season. He has made a switch to Dearborn, Michigan's finest, in the form of the pony car. And there you see the gap has come down between Sean Teeter and Michael Brock. It was 1.3 seconds at the beginning of the lap, and now it is next to nothing. Sean Teeter is very close to losing 10th position as they come out of the outer loop. And here is Michael Brock with a big run of speed down to the inside. He dives in the 421 Technicolor Mustang, and he's just ahead by about half a car length. Nevertheless, Sean Teeter not giving up, but he decides, well, my fight is not with Michael Brock. My fight is with Zach Peterson. My fight is with Mike Bond, who's leading. But the big thing is that now that Sean Teeter is behind Michael Brock, there is a 3.3 second window that Sean Teeter needs to get the hurry up with, as we've only got 10 minutes to go. If he can stick with Michael Brock, he might be able to drag Sean Teeter along to close on in to the pair of Peterson and Bond. Bond looking for his first win in the mid-pack Larrys this season here in season 26. Season 27. But again, with 9 3/4 minutes to go, anything's possible here, Mac.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and something I really want to go back and look at. It's going to be the overtake that we saw here between Michael Brock and Sean Teeter. I mean, he had to fight that car around the long extended right-hander, and then he's got to get his car straight, ready for the elevation change left-hander here, getting onto the boot. And I mean, that's a Mustang, that's not a Porsche, Alex. So for him to be able to do that stuff, be able to get the car back to an agile feeling, the pivot points that he puts on that car, I mean, he is driving an incredible race right now. We had a few moments, or actually just one moment at the beginning of the race, lap 1, turn 1. But if that wasn't a factor, I think there's a very good chance he could be walking away a winner.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that it would have been the case. I mean, he was, he was on the outside of the front row when we went green. 36 1/4 minutes to go. 8 minutes and 43 left on the counter. Some of the drivers really starting to hustle, and you can tell that the cars are getting a little bit more looser when they're going through the corners, as Jesse Meir has closed in, and he's in attacking range of Joe Mayer, and this is for 4th on the road here at the Glen. So we're going to see if he can try and get through at this particular point. No. 172 in that bright baby blue livery, trying to make his way through. Loving the orange accents on the wing end plates, the alloy wheels, and also the side skirt decals. But now, run wide there from Joe Mayer. We've got a left-hander coming up. Mir to the inside. Is he going to pull it through and get the job done? No, Mir gets a little bit of an overspeed. That's through turn 10, now into turn number 11. The right-hander, as a tighter line taken by Jesse Mir, who's going to slot back in behind the BMW. Let's see if he can tee something up very, very shortly. But look at the closing speed heading into the 90 here at turn 1. And that gap between them is not much. It's about less than 0.4 of a second. They both run wide at the 90. Mayer a little bit wider than Mir. So up the hill they go through the S's. The Porsche has got the legs. Can it stretch them enough to get through into the inner loop at this point? And at the moment, well, Jesse Mir needed to be a little bit closer coming out of the S's. He pulls to the inside line on the approach into the inner loop, and unfortunately he's unable to facilitate it. So he's got to just keep on trying and keep on pushing and see whether Joe Mayer up in front is going to make an unforced error. Meantime, Mike Bond continues to lead the mid-pack Larrys, and he's closing in on the pair of Roman Bykov and the Ford Mustang. Last season's mid-pack Larrys champion, Kyle Mavis, in the 64 Liquid Death. So Mike Bond, I mean, we saw some really, really good racing from him in the second half of last season. So it seems like we're going to be getting that kind of elbows out sort of action from the 123 very, very shortly. But with 6.5 minutes to go, it's just about picking your moments. The drivers will have been through the ringer here for Watkins Glen for nearly the best part of 40 minutes. And at this point, it's always a case of seeing if the race is going to be coming your way. And that was so close to the wall there for Jesse Mir, and that was coming through out of turn 9. So, and that's allowed Joe Mayer to pull a little bit of a gap to about 7.5 of a second. as they're going to come out of turn number 11, and you can just see how close these drivers are getting to the wall here. More to the point, Michael Brock has now gotten through on Sean Teeter. He's gapped him by nearly 5 seconds, and he's 1 second away from Zach Peterson in the number 116 Porsche Pig, the Pink Pig. Of course, Porsche Motorsport celebrating 75 years of motorsport in 2026. So many congratulations and many happy birthday to the stable based out of Weissach, just outside of Stuttgart in Germany, in the Bavarian region of the country, down south. But Zach Peterson trying to close that gap to Mike Bond. It's 1.4 seconds with just over 5 minutes to go. Anything's possible here at the Glen, Mac. I mean, you know, you make one misstep here at the Glen, and all of a sudden, as Justin Aitchison and Sean Teeter go side by side. Here comes John Cooper with a big head of steam out of the inner loop. They both just about make it through without any track limit penalties. But unfortunately for Sean Teeter, he has just been knocked off the podium. And here comes a flood of cars. There's John Aguilera to the outside as they're going down the hill. This is going to be very, very tetchy through into the chute, into the toe of the boot. And no one's giving an inch at all. You've got Russell Abraham and Brian Zinn there in the mix. This is going to be a really, really close battle. It's a bit like senior X30 karting, whereby you never know who's going to get their elbows out first. And John Aguilera and Sean Teeter go wheel to wheel. And down the hill they go again. But Aitchison just decided to thread the eye of the needle, put it too wide into the inner loop, and he got the job done. And that has put him on the final step of the rostrum in the mid-pack Larrys.
Yeah, very, very good from Justin Aitchison in the 175 golf-colored livery there. It looks very good, man. And honestly, I say it all the time, but the apex of this roster, man, it doesn't matter if it's the Miata series, it doesn't matter if it's the GT4 series. They come with the heat liveries every single week. And as a broadcaster, there's a lot of times where I look at liveries and I'm just like,
Oh! Sean Teeter just
Sean
sideways
Teeter.
there. Oh, that has really put paid to that, because now John Aguilera is ahead of him, and that demotes Sean Teeter, who was on pole position for this race 41.5 minutes ago. He's down to P4, and Aguilera and Teeter are battling away over P4 in the class. Brian Zinn has got through on Russell Abraham in the meantime, as these two go up the hill through the S's, then onto the back stretch. John Monsalve has had another trip through pit lane, I believe, as well. It looks like we've got a couple of drivers that might have a little bit of a high ping situation. But 3 minutes to go. Thomas Lathrop will have 2 laps remaining if we get to the line before, let's say, 1 minute and 57 seconds. So he's going down the hill. He's got a 4.3 second advantage over Brian Lemke. Now Lathrop at the moment, in terms of the results so far with the going pros at this moment in time, well, Thomas Lathrop, he got a P2 last time out and finished a little bit further down in the running order of things, and which would have been, he was 9th at the season opener at Suzuka, but finished P2 behind Michael Brock, and he's looking for his first win in the series here in season 27. So we have got this and 1 more lap to go. So about 6.5 miles or so of driving left to go for all our competitors, and pretty much we've had no real major incidents to speak of that has eliminated drivers. I think Paul Bailey, well, he's ended up in pit road again in the number 569 Porsche Cayman 718. So that looks like there's been damage. So, and we're going to see a moment here. This is with Kevin Zhu. Now, Kevin Zhu was running quite a way up the order. He turns the car in, back end steps out. Oh, that's going to flat spot them Michelin tyres, I'm afraid. And he manages to, a little bit of a kiss with the barrier with the rear bumper, and manages to get the car back going again. But that has meant that he has lost a big amount of time. Thomas Lathrop, in the meantime, he has been leading every single lap of this race here at Watkins Glen, as the sun now decides to break its way through the partially cloudy skies here at the circuit. But he is making good time here at the circuit based just outside the basically at the this circuit is southwest of the village Watkins Glen, after which it's named, and it's the southern tip of Seneca Lake in New York. So Lathrop doing a very, very good job. Jesse Meir trying to close in one more time to see if he can get through on Joe Mayer in the 000, who has got the fastest lap of the race, a 1:53.832. And out of all the drivers that started this race, the top 3 have only gotten under that 1:54. White flag is in the air as Thomas Lathrop brings us on to lap 24. The final lap here, Brian Lemke 5 seconds behind. Jesse Meir has just one more lap to go to see if he can put a move on Joe Mayer in the dying stages of this race. They come out of turn 11 for the final time. Meantime, Mike Bond is leading, but Zach Peterson is looking for 2 on the bounce as the Pink Pig Porsche is closing in on the Black Rifle Coffee Mustang up in front. And through they go into the 90 for the final time. Rounding out the top 3, Justin Aitchison is nearly 8 seconds behind. Tita currently P4 in mid-pack. Larry's ahead of John Aguilera. They are battling over 4th position. That's currently for 15th overall. Michael Brock in the meantime, well, what a drive he's had from being round at turn 1 and into the barriers. And look who he's catching. He's got Kyle Mavis and Roman Bykov. As we've hit 0 on the timer, we are now 35 seconds past that window, and through into the inner loop they go for the final time. John Monsalve, unfortunately, has got a black flag for too many incident points, and he has had a race to forget. He qualified on the inside of row 6 on P11, but Joe Mayer holding on for the meantime. Thomas Lathrop coming into the final quarter of the lap here on lap 24. It has been a perfect run for the man in the number 84. Can he get the job done? Well, it's pretty much a formality right about now, because he's got no traffic behind him, nothing but clear air in front of him. He is going to take the win here for week 3, and that is going to make it in the overall side of things with regards to the going pros. The win in the first race went to DJ Alessandrini. Michael Brock took the win in week 2. Week 3, it's 3 different winners from 3. Thomas Lathrop leads a lights out to checkered extravaganza here at the Glen. Brian Lemke takes P2. Who's going to be P3 at the end of it all? It is going to more than likely be Joe Mayer. The 000 comes out of the final corner. He started on the outside of row number 3. He will hit the rostrum here in the going pros, pipping Jesse Meir by half a second at the flag. Michael Brock gets through on Kyle Mavis in the last chance saloon. He finishes behind Kevin Shute, and it was a drag race between the 2 Mustangs. Mike Bond wins in the mid-pack Larrys for the first time this season, so well done to the 123 Mustang. Zach Peterson could only muster up to be close by 0.3 of a second. Well, it was between Zach Peterson and Justin Aitchison. It was 8 seconds, so Peterson takes P2, Aitchison P3 in 11th overall. Still got some more drivers to come across the line as we look at the likes of Keegan Gehrig, Dylan Foster, Spencer Baudouin and Aaron Sunday. Keegan Gehrig started in 15th, ends up 18th. Dylan Foster makes his way across the line. Spencer Baudouin rounds out your top 20. Philip Paul and Aaron Sunday complete the top 22. And in the mid-pack Larry as well, it's Sean Tita, Zach Peterson and Mike Bond now make it 3 for 3 in the mid-pack Larrys. So the opening 3 weeks of the series, out of 12 here, Mac, we've had 3 different winners in each of the classes so far. What can you say about that?
Hey, man, that just means the racing is so competitive. It's going to be the opposite of the Formula 1 season this year. I'm afraid to say it. I think Mercedes might just have that one in the books already. But yeah, here in the Apex, this GT4 Tuesday series, it's been a pleasure to watch. It's been super competitive. I genuinely have no clue who's even going to be on the podium when I step out on a Tuesday and broadcast this with you, Alex. So, in my opinion, that's awesome.
Exactly. And now it's time to head to the Apex Sim Racing post-race show, and we've got some drivers lining up. First of all, let's bring in the man who's made it 3 different winners from 3 different races, Thomas Lathrop. Lights out to checkered from pole position. that must be such a great thing to finally break that duck and get the win here at the Glen.
Yeah, I can't believe that just happened. That's my first win in, I think, GT4 and in Apex this. I'm not much of a GT4 driver. I didn't feel that confident coming in tonight. I was surprised to put it on pole, especially because there were some really fast guys. Like Brian was really fast in practice. And then Michael Brock, unfortunately, he got such a great start. He was almost going to pass me in turn one, and he just lost the car on those cold tires. That set Brian back a little bit too. But I think more than anything, what I was surprised by was beating Brian in the pits, because I've never beaten him in the pits before. And I figured he was fuel saving. It was going to have a shorter pit stop, and I was mentally preparing myself to have to fight back after the pit cycle. So I'm just floored, blown away. Can't believe that just happened.
Well, listen to this statistic though, Thomas. You were over 1 second quicker. You were nearly 1.3 seconds quicker on your fueling than Brian was. So when you
that's crazy, because I felt like I was pushing so hard just to stay ahead of him that and he was so fast through the bus stop that I just was like, he's got to have a fuel advantage here.
Well, the thing is, that man did not leave that BMW 1 iota at all. He didn't even change the car last season, and we nicknamed him Mr. Consistency.
Yep.
And I think, you know, when you because we've always, for the majority of the time since you joined us last season in season 26, you know, you went with the Porsche. You've now got a better understanding, and after 3 weeks of everyone being in the same cars, open setup, it's really changed things in terms of the dynamic of the series, hasn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. But you were right. You were hit on what Brian is super consistent, and he's a driver that races you clean. He doesn't make mistakes, and that's just another reason why I'm so surprised.
Well, congratulations, first of all,
Appreciate
on the first win in the series. Before we let you go, Thomas, anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to in particular?
Yeah, just Brian in particular. He's been really encouraging. He's a great guy. And Jesse Meager, he's one of the league stewards. He's said something really kind to me today, really uplifted my day. I appreciated that, and appreciate you guys, because you make us look good every week.
Well, at least you can say that this win this week was definitely the cherry on the icing on the cake, Thomas. But well done tonight, and we'll see you in 7 days' time when we go back to Japan and we go to Okayama.
Thank you so much.
Right, okay. Well, next up, let's bring into the booth Brian Lemke, who's standing by with Mac Nelson.
Yes, sir. Brian Lemke, driver of the number 41. You had one heck of a show here tonight, bringing it home in P2. Now, I do have to ask you, Brian, because it seemed a little apparent to me out there that your pace was more toward the latter half of the race. Would you care to elaborate? Is that accurate? Am I seeing things wrong, or did you spend the first half kind of saving your stuff and really push the latter half?
Yeah. I that first half of the race, I just kind of was trying to save some tires. This car falls off pretty bad at the end. Thought I was in a really good position. I was right behind Thomas, and it was close. I mean, I was probably half a second to a second that whole first stint. And then we got to the pit stops, and I figured I'd come out right behind him, but he put like a 2-second gap on me in the pits. I have no idea what he did. He absolutely nailed the pit stop. And of course, then I was out of the draft, and I started over driving, and then I started beating up the tires, and it just all fell apart. He sailed away. He was gone, which is fine. He drove a hell of a race, so hats off to Thomas. I think that was his first Apex win, probably first of many to come. He had a hell of a race. And then I was just trying to keep the car together. I think I saw Kevin Zeus spin behind me and gave me a pretty big gap. So I just coasted to the finish, trying to save some fuel and make sure I had enough. I was sputtering in turn one after the start-finish line, so that was pretty close.
Yeah, well, I would say that is pretty close. Speaking of close, the championship battle between P4 and P10 is only separated by 9 points. You sit in the middle with 22 points. So with the race here tonight, you got a P2. We head to Okayama next week. What's kind of the move when it comes to the championship standings, and are you confident that you're going to be able to propel yourself even further up the championship standings next week?
Yeah. I mean, last week at Spa, I was running P2 on the in the last lap when I got ran over, and that hurt. That was a lot of points lost right there. But I think moving forward, I mean, I think we got we got podium speed. Just try to keep these races clean, try to get as many points as we can, and hopefully at the end of the season we'll see where things shake out. But nope, I'm feeling good. BMW is not great, but it looks like all the cars are kind of struggling in their own aspects. So we're all just doing the best we can with what we got, and at the end, where the points are is where the points will be.
Yeah, hey, I like that outlook. I like that a lot. I'm going to have to use that one. Before we let you get out of here, though, Brian, is there anybody you would like to shout out or thank for the performance here tonight?
I'm gonna shout out Thomas, man. That was awesome. He had just a hell of a race. I think he qualified first, probably led every lap. I don't know if he got fastest lap, but I wouldn't be surprised. So just shout out Thomas. Great race, and I was happy to see it, and I look forward to some more. And shout out to you guys for the great broadcast. I always have a good time watching these back the next day. So looking forward to it tomorrow. Give me something to do while I'm at work.
Well, from everybody here at Racer Nexus, we appreciate the kind words. That's going to be your P2 finisher on the night here tonight at Watkins Glen, the 41 driver of Brian Lemke.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, and just to wrap up the Apex Sim Racing post-race show, a man who was so close to becoming our first two-time winner, Zach Peterson joins us. Zach, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
That was so close between you and Mike at the end of that race. I mean, you were pushing him to Kingdom Come, but the Mustang just about held on, and it makes it 3 different winners from 3 different races, not just in the mid-pack Larrys, but we've had 3 different winners in 3 different races for the Going Pros.
Right.
It's been a tough one, hasn't it, so far this series?
Yeah, it was tough. I got caught in the pack there, and I could see him drifting away. And I thought, well, if I can get around these guys, and I tried to get around Cooper on the after turn 1 there, and collided with him, and that kind of closed that door. But when I came out of the pits, I realized I was sitting up there pretty good, and that pit stop made everything.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough one here at the Glen because there's minimal opportunities for trying to get through. You know, if you can get through at the 90 at turn 1, great. If you can get through before the inner loop off of the back stretch, you're fine.
Yeah.
But it's just so close. I mean, we're seeing on the replay at the moment how close you were to the back bumper of Mike whilst you were giving him so much stick from behind. It's just
I was trying to unsettle him, and he just laid it down. He did a great job.
Yeah, I mean he's also a multi-time race winner with us in the mid-pack Larrys for GT4s, but nevertheless, it still puts you in a very good place. You know, when you look at the previous results you've had. You know, Suzuka didn't get off to the greatest start. I mean, you finished P5. You took the win last time out at Spa, and then here you pick up another P2, which should hopefully help you to extend your gap, your lead in the standings going to Okayama next week. I mean, how are you feeling about that one?
Well, I think Sean finished right behind me. He was a few cars back, but he did finish in 3rd place, I think, overall here tonight. And in the mid pack.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Oh, he didn't.
No, he
Perfect.
didn't. He finished down in 4th, ahead of John, and also Justin actually did a number on John. Did a number on him as well, going through into the inner loop. Like literally, they were side by side, wheel to wheel. So it does give you a little bit of a helping hand. A
little cushion.
It does, you know, as we've hit a quarter of the way through 12 weeks, but you know, Okayama, tight technical circuit, it should play to the strengths of the handling of the Porsche, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should. Like again, I think the racing will be close. It's a track that we've all raced a long time, but you're gonna have to, you know, be careful not to wreck somebody else's race out there. That'll be a tricky one. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I was glad it all worked out tonight, and I know that I'm sure Bond will be coming looking for it, and I'm sure Sean's going to be looking for some little redemption at this point here. It sounded like he did not have a great pit. So
no.
Frustrating.
He said, "Can someone help me how to teach me how to pit stop properly?" In the Discord chat, I've just seen, and I was like, bless him. You know,
yeah,
he done such a good job. He put it on pole position in the class, and he looked like he was really strong. But nevertheless, Zach, congratulations on your P2, just 3/10 off your second win in a row here in the series. But before we let you go, anyone you want to thank in particular?
As always, thanks for Brian pushing me to get back in it. My lady for making it all possible at home, and And Apex for putting it on, you guys for broadcasting. So.
Well, we'll see. In that case, Zach, we'll see you next week at Okayama for week 4 of the series.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Well, great to hear from Thomas, Brian, and Zach on that particular occasion, Mac. I mean, it was a tough one for the drivers tonight, but what we had was a 45-minute race that had it all. Great overtakes, missteps, moments, but at the end of it all, pretty much everyone got across the line. And there you see the results on your screens for the Going Pros. Lathrop from Lemke with Mayer rounding out the top 3. Jesse Meyer, Kevin Zhu, Roman Bykov, Michael Brock finishing P7. It was the drag race to the line between the two Mustangs. Kyle Mavis, John Cooper, and Russell Abraham round out your top 10. And Joseph Mayer will get a point for an additional fastest lap. And then we go to the mid-pack Larrys. Mike Bond wins by 0.312 of a second ahead of Zach Peterson, with Justin Aitchison making it a Mustang 1-3. Sean Teeter in the BMW, the Monster Beast BMW, as I'm going to nickname it now, rounds out your top 4 ahead of the high-vis Aston Martin of John Aguilera, who completed the top 5. Dylan Foster, Philip Poole, Aaron Sunday, Donald Mensing, and John Monsalve round out the top 10. Monsalve ending up 2 laps down. Paul Bailey completing the runners and riders, as Gonçalo Amorim from Portugal, who did not set a lap time in qualifying, I think, and also did not make it to the grid in time. But still, Watkins Glen delivers every time, Mr. Nelson.
Yes, sir, it does, Mr. Goldschmidt. And what I love about this track, especially the GT4 cars around it, a lot of people say the GT4 cars, it's a watered-down GT3, and in a sense it is, lower horsepower, all that stuff. But you get them out here on a track like Watkins Glen, and it doesn't matter if it's go-karts, it doesn't matter if it's shopping carts, Alex. You can make anything entertaining when you race them on the Glen, and I think we saw it here tonight.
Indeed. And, well, that really wraps up our coverage here on Tuesday night for week 3 at the Glen for Apex this GT4 Tuesdays. And don't forget, if you're in the market for some new sim gear, so direct drives, SimiCube's active pedals, some products from our good friends over at SimMagic, head to the referral link in the description down below and use the coupon code RACERNEXUS on checkout. That's all lowercase, all one word, no spaces in between, for a 5% discount from our friends at the Apex Sim Racing shop. Also, a big thank you to our friends at TrackCams22.com, TrackCams for gourmets, who provide some very, very realistic camera angles for us to give you the best broadcast experience possible here on Racer Nexus. So, from myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and from Mac Nelson up here in the Racer Nexus Global Broadcast Center, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. We are nearly at 750 subscribers so far on the channel. It might just be a little click for you guys and gals at home, but for us, it means so much more. We can help bring more communities together in the world of sim racing. But as the dust has settled here, just off of the southern tip of Seneca Lake in New York, well, we head to the former locality of the 1995 and 1996 Pacific Grand Prix for Formula One. We head back to the Orient, to Japan, and we head to Okayama for week number 4. Don't forget, there's plenty of racing still to come on the Racer Nexus broadcast network, because right now we've currently got season 5 of Throttle Freaks GT3 week 2 at Sebring International Raceway. They're currently underway as we speak. Coming up later on in the week, there is so much still to come. We've got the Apex this season 27, Mazda Cup week 3. They'll be coming back to the Glen. Freedom Motorsport Alliance Next Gen Series will be heading to week 3. Chicagoland will have week 3. FMA, the prototype series, which will be heading to its next stop on the calendar, which is Road Atlanta, I believe, if I remember correctly. Breaking Bad pushing limits GT3 at Red Bull Ring for round 4, season 2. ECRL, that's the East Coast Race League, they'll be heading to Richmond for Next Gen Series round 6. Rookie Class Racing, ARCA Series season 3, week 4 is at Kentucky. And then we'll have week 9 at Kentucky for the Truck Series. American Sim Racing League will be heading to its final round of the winter series, so to speak, at Sebring. And then we'll also have the Tobacco Road Sim Racing Next Gen Series Season 2, Week 11 at Richmond Raceway. So, thank you so much for joining us here on the Racer Nexus Broadcast Network. And until next time, race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, well, you better go flat out. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Good night.